Well, it's 4 o'clock, right on the money for me. So I'll go ahead and kick this whole thing off. It's going to be short. It's going to be sweet because I don't believe in taking a whole lot of time to do. I'm not pitching you anything except my services, which you can already figure out that if you want to work with me, you can do that. But my name is Steve Sapato. I'm run the website stevesapatoseminars.com. I also oversee the platform speakertalks.com, which is how to get yourself on the professional stage in front of a live audience and get a professional recording so other people can see how good you really are. That's one of the things that we're talking about here today is how do you brand yourself? How do you make yourself so good that other people say, I want to work with you? That's important that we understand the dynamics, group dynamics, how they enter into all of this, and what it means to us as people who are out there looking for clients. The one thing that that we have to talk about, of course, is what does it take, right? Branding is probably one of the most important things you can do, and most people don't understand it. Most people think, hey, I'm going to brand myself, so I'm going to hire somebody to do a logo, or I'm going to hire somebody to do my website. But you don't understand that branding is everything you do. And when we talk about branding being everything we do, it's vital that we understand what branding actually does. Branding makes us more highly visible. Now, every time I get on and I'm here in my office, I always tell people, look at the wall behind me. See that wonderful red wall? That's one of my branded colors. Now, is that significant? No, it's really not. But I want you to understand that when you start to accept what branding means, it will change everything that you do. So this will be about a half hour, maybe 35 minutes of me telling you, showing you, helping you to grow your business through branding so that you will get clients who will come to you, right? You ever been on a webinar, been on something like this, and then when you get all done, everybody goes, hey, thanks a lot, and they're gone. What? Nobody wanted to talk to me any further? Nobody wanted to reach out? No, why not? Because I hadn't positioned myself, all right, for people to think that they needed to work with me. All right, that's part of branding. When we talk about how important it is, and I pulled up all kinds of stuff off the internet, because when you type in, branding or how do you brand your business or what to make brand your business, you'll find almost everybody says exactly the same thing. And I don't agree with almost any of them. So branding is not only important for your logo or your business card. It's not only important for the shirt you wear. If you want to go really nutso and put your brand on your shirt, that's up to you. When you look at somebody who has a brand, I ran my second wife, my brother-in-law looked at me one day and he says, whose name is on your shirt? And I went, no one's. I didn't wear a branded shirt, right? Didn't have anybody's name there. And he and his fellow boaters, right, at the time said, interesting. I said, why is that significant? They said, well, we were just wondering, whose apparel you were wearing. Why is that significant? Because they judged people on whether somebody was wearing Lacoste or whatever might have been in vogue at the time. What a weird way to find somebody. But you know what I learned? I learned that that's what people do. They judge you on what brand you're wearing, what brand you're pushing, what brand you're representing. It all makes a difference. I'm working with Lena Rayrig on Transform Mastermind Group, and we talk about the Empire Creators situation. If you want to look into a fantastic little group organization, look into Transform Mastermind and tell them I sent you, Steve Sapato. But we talk about empire creators, and in the empire creators, let's face it, brands are the empires. If you say Nike, everybody knows who Nike is, right? If you say McDonald's, everybody knows McDonald's. If you say Cher, everybody knows Cher. She branded herself out of the Sonny and Cher, right, into becoming just Cher. And so you understand that brand makes a difference in how people perceive you. And that's what I want you to understand. So when we talk about branding, right, your logo is important, right? It's a strong brand for you, but it's not vital. What if you've got the wrong logo? What if you made something? Well, here's what I want you to understand, right? When we talk about putting together a brand, okay, that has a little bit to do with your colors and a little bit to do with your logo and a little bit to do with this, but what it really has to do with is you. If you're a small business person like most of us, that brand is you. I ask people all the time when I help people grow their business, I go, let's look at your business card. Let's start there. What does your business card say about you? You know, I've got stacks of business cards here. I'll bet you I've got 400 or 500 business cards that I've sorted through and looked at different times. And some people will have just like M on the front of their business card. Let's say a big red M on a black background. M. Well, what does that mean, right? They branded themselves as M. But if nobody knows what that means, doesn't do you any good to brand yourself on your business card. Make sure your business card tells what you're going to do for the person that you're handing the card to. Don't say, hey, I'm Steve Sapato. I'm a great speaker and presenter. If you ever want to hire a speaker, here's my card. No. What can I do for them? You ever need to get, right, your point across? You ever need to market something? Do you ever need to have an auction where you need to raise a lot more money? Then you should probably connect with Steve Sapato. He's one of the best speakers in it, right? Follow me? That's what we're talking about. So when it comes time to brand yourself, think about what you're bringing to you, okay? Think about what you're bringing to you. That's important because if you don't get what you're branding for, okay, you don't get it, you're not going to be able to pass it on. So when we talk about what does it take to brand yourself, I want you to understand that the purpose of you branding yourself is to get business, isn't it? The whole purpose of you branding yourself is to get business. So when I started this little thing right here, I actually had branding for client creation, right? What makes someone contact or connect with you? So when we talk about that, the best thing you can ever do in your business is create an atmosphere of success so people want to connect with you. Have you ever gotten on a webinar, a seminar, a summit, right? If you've ever gotten on these and the people are, well, you know, I'm pretty good or I'm this, don't talk about yourself. Talk about what you can do for them. For example, I want you to know that I can help you brand yourself so that people will call you. And that's what we're doing on this little 30-minute. We're going to take about 30 more minutes, maybe at the most, to talk about how I can help you brand yourself for free. It's free. Yay, I like that. Okay. And so when we're talking about that, the best thing you can do is leave an atmosphere of success. So first I want to ask you, what do you really want to accomplish with your business, right? When we talk about your brand or your logo, what do you represent? That's important. We talk about with that when we sit down with people and do, what's your client avatar? What's this? There's so many things that go into this. And I want you to understand that your brand is one step in it. But what do you know about the leaders in your niche, right? Your niche, how you pronounce that? Niche? Your corner, right? Here's what you know. I don't care if you know anything about the people who are in your niche. So all the people who are in the public speaking niche, right? All the people who are in the helping authors become more visible niche. I have to go, what do I know about the ones? And the answer is the ones I know about are highly visible. They're highly visible. And that makes a huge difference. So if what I'm doing, okay, and get this right, if what I am doing is creating my own niche so other people will recognize me, I have to become highly visible. How will you do that? How are you doing it now? So if I were to ask you right now, right, I got Barry, James, Success Builders, and Kathy on here. If I were to ask you right now, how are you making yourself highly visible? Can you answer that question? What are you putting out for content? What are you putting out for marketing? What are you putting out, right? I mean, this was where I am today. I was supposed to be involved in a big summit, and it turns out they left me off the summit. So they booked me in, they got me all psyched up, they got me to do this, and then they forgot to include me in the summit. But what I want you to know is, if it would have come time for the summit, that's exactly what I did for you is what I would do for them, which is, if you want to grow your business, you need to be on this call. You need to be on this webinar. You need to connect with me. Are you guys wanting to be more successful? I'm the guy who can help you be more successful. It's real simple, right? There's lots of people to choose from, but I'm the one saying I can do it. Other people will say, hey, we can do this for you and we can do that for you. I want to find out what you want, and I want to help you achieve it, or get it. So when we're talking about those things, I want you to ask yourself the question, what, okay, are you doing to make yourself more visible? You guys know I run Speaker Talks. If you don't, it's a place to put people on a stage and get them seen in a 15-minute professional video as the expert in their field. When people see you, whether you post that on your website, whether you post it on YouTube, whether you post it on all of your emails, when they see you as that expert, they will call you. I can't tell you how many times in the last 2 and 3 months since this COVID thing started that people have connected with me. They reach out after we've been on a workshop, after we've been on a seminar, after we've been on a summit, and they reach out and say, Steve, I think I would like to talk to you about whether we can work together. Yay! Why is that? Is because I position myself as the expert. I am the expert. Are you the expert? Right? How are you making yourself visible? And visibility simply means recognition and business success. You want more success? Yeah, I don't know what you guys do. I don't know. I know what Kathy does. Everybody else, I'm not sure of. So if you want to, you could write to me later, steve@stevesapato.com, and tell me what you do and tell me what I can do for you, right? How can I help you become more visible, create more success, create more money in your pocket, create more clients for you to work with? Those are the things that we can do together that will change your business. So when you know how you're making yourself visible, okay, those are the things that we have to start working more on. So all of this is how you brand and represent yourself as an expert in your niche. It's all about how you position yourself when someone else must be connecting with them, right? It's how you brand your visibility. So how did you, if you went to another summit, how did you stand out as the go-to person that they should pay attention to? Let me give you an example. I was on something the other day, and I'll say a networking thing, and there were like 12 or 14 people on this thing. And when I was co-hosting it, and when somebody said, you know, Steve, what about this? I went, well, you know, this, and this. I said, but does somebody else have an idea? And out of 12 or 14 people on our screen, one guy was doing this. Click, I clicked on him. I went, hey, and I forget his name right now, but it was, hey, Bob, what you got? And he took way too long to tell me. But the point was, I should have started off by saying, hey, you got about 45 seconds to tell me what you wanted to share. Because it wasn't his webinar, right? It wasn't his networking event. It was somebody else's. So when he talked, but still he had something to say. Do you think I remembered him over the other 12 or 14? Absolutely. When you go as a participant, okay, and you're open to questioning, especially with all the new networking ones they're throwing out there, go. Sit like this. Hey, I'm really interested in what you have to say. I've seen people sit back like this. Yeah, they're going to talk for another hour. I'll be here. I've seen people get up from their computers and walk away. You can see them walk towards their kitchen or wherever they're at, right? You should have one of these slider things like I've got. You can slide it over. I disappear. You can slide it back. Here I am. Those are simple things, but you know what? If I'm going to go to the bathroom, if I'm going to eat some chips, right, I'll mute myself and then I slide that over so they don't know what happened to me. Maybe I just had to do something, like I had to blow my nose. Nobody wants to watch me blow my nose, right? So what made you memorable or visible on your networking group? What did you ask? Always, trust me, every single time you're in a networking thing and somebody says, does anybody have anything to add? Boom, you have something to add. You're the expert. I don't know what you do. You're the expert in your niche. As far as I'm concerned, if there's 14 people on and there's 4 of them or 3 or 4 of them are speakers, right? I'm the best one to offer advice. Why is that? Because I decided I would be. Now, granted, I've had 40 years experience. I've done this. I've traveled across the United States. I've done all this stuff. I got tons of stuff on, but so do other people. What makes me the expert, what makes me the first to say I got something, information, is that I jump in first and I say something really pertinent. And that's what you need to do. Become visible. Become the expert. And you do that in several ways. Well, first of all, let me look down here. Learn how to be the person to watch in any summit. Going online to network events, how do you make yourself that one person that other people want to connect with, right? When you've gone to these, who stood out for you and why? What made them special? First of all, always dress right. Always dress right, right? I've seen people come in t-shirts. I've seen people come in wife beater shirts. I've seen ladies come with their hair not fixed. What are you doing, right? Show up like a professional, because I want a professional to work with me. And if I'm looking at these 14 other networkers and they all are slovenly, I'm probably not going to work with any of them because they don't have anything to offer to me. So it's important that you understand what you bring to each event that you're going to. So let's talk about, I promised I would cover 3 things. We're already 16 minutes into this. Here's one of them is the top method for making yourself visible. Number 2 is the only way you should be representing yourself and your brand. And number 3 is the 3 phrases that you must be using in order to get people calling you. Ooh, really? You guys know these things? Are you familiar with them? Have you thought about them, right? How are you making yourself visible? Again, who stands out and why in your mind when you think of experts? And it's really important, okay? So when we talk about the top method for making yourself visible, the number 1 thing you have to do is ask. What? Yeah, matter of fact, I just had, see if I can remember his name. I don't remember his name. He's got three names. He wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. Mark Victor Hansen. But I had Crystal, right? Crystal Dyer Hansen on my podcast. So I just had Crystal Dyer Hansen on my podcast. And guess who she brought with her? Yep, her husband, Mark Victor. Why? Because they had a new book they wanted to push, okay? And they were pushing a book, and it starts off with ask. Well, I've got the QL method, right? If you wanted to buy one of my programs, the QL method, which is how to sell more, how to develop more, it's called QL method, and it's how to ask in the right method, in the right way, in the right this. Now, out comes Mark Victor Hansen, right, with a new ask book, and I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but he and his wife wrote it together. And that really brings us to this. So the top method for making yourself visible in any situation is to ask. Have you noticed most people don't like to raise their hands? When you think back to high school and college, who was the teacher's pet? It was almost always, you say, the smartest person. Well, could have been, but it was always the person going, I know, Mr. Sapato, I know. Yeah, Bobby, what's the answer? Well, I know it's this, right? And even if Bobby was wrong, we went, well, that was close, Bobby. Thanks for raising your hand. Who else? You see, we love people who participate. We're interested in them. That's really important for you to understand, that we love people who participate. So if you're sitting out at a networking thing, ask the question. Say, I see Tony joined us. Say, hey, Tony, right? And I say, hey, Tony, I have a question for you. I need the answer to this. Now, I tell people all the time, matter of fact, if you went to my Empire Creators podcast, where Elena and I are working hard to help you create an empire. Now, in case you don't know, you have a hobby, which means you still have a job and you're trying to do something on the side. You have a business, which means you've replaced your job with your business, and they both require the same things, which is all of your time, all of your money, all of your attention. And then there's the empire, which is we get to the McDonald's, right? Where I bought a McDonald's, and then I can buy another McDonald's, and then I can franchise all that stuff out. And so when we talk about those kind of things, it's important to understand that that's what creates that empire, okay? And so if you're learning in the ask method, we say ask, ask, ask. I have a question. And when I talk to Elena, I tell Elena before we start the show, remember, I ask stupid questions. And people look at me like all the time. I've worked with co-instructors who didn't know me well. And we went and taught at a corporation. They were supposed to teach. I was supposed to teach. We ended up teaching together. And I'll ask a question of the class. I'm teaching the class. And I'll say, who knows this? And I had one of my instructors pop up and said, oh my gosh, Steve, the answer to that is this. And I looked at him and I went, you think I really didn't know that? Right? The purpose of me asking a stupid question is to keep you from feeling stupid and having to ask it. Right? So ask, ask, ask. We love the people who ask stupid questions because that means they didn't know. And there are probably other people who didn't know, but they were too afraid of looking stupid. You want to be a leader. You want to be an expert. You want to be recognized at everything you go to. raise that hand. Hey, I have a question for you. Even if it's an obvious question. Now, don't ask stupid questions, okay? Now, let me give you an example. If you've watched this everything political, and I don't care if you've been watching for 20 years or the last 2 years, you'll watch reporters go, and why didn't we go to China, right? Whatever it might be. Why didn't we, excuse me, Mr. President, why didn't we go to China? And the president or his spokesperson will answer why they didn't go to China. And then a minute and a half later, another reporter says, why didn't we go to China? Really? You weren't listening to the other guy? What were you doing, right? And so just be aware that don't re-ask a question that somebody else has already asked. But I want you to understand that asking a question brings you to our forefront. If you like somebody. Now, imagine that you're in learning about being an author, okay? So you want to be an author, and you've got the publisher, the publishing company, hosting this whole event. They're the ones are the experts on authoring. And they say something, and I, as a speaker, I go, can I ask a question? And they will say, well, yeah, Steve, go ahead and ask the question. And I go, how does an author sell more books? What are the methods for an author to sell more books? And they'll usually say, well, you got to go out and you got to put them into the bookstores, you got to knock the doors, you got to offer them at this, you got to, and then eventually they'll say, and you have to speak, right, and sell them from the stage. Ah, now we're talking Steve's language. See, I already knew the answer. I already know that authors don't sell many books unless they become speakers. I know speakers gain credibility when they write a book and can say, as you will find in my book. Everybody goes, oh, they have a book, right? Those kind of things happen. So when you want to be the expert, you have to do certain things to be the expert. And when we talk about that, you have to ask so that they identify you as the expert. And then you help them with your expertise to create more questions which generate more answers. Okay, so that's number 2. I think I'm down to about my last 10 minutes, so we're going to try and wrap this up for you because I told you I'd take you about 30, 35 minutes. Number 2, the only way you should be representing yourself and your brand. There's only one way, right? You always talk about you being the expert, you being the leader, you being the top selling person, you being the highly sought after professional. Never negate yourself. How good are you? I'm phenomenal, right? I am great. I'm spectacular. Now, sometimes you have to smile when you say that, right? When people ask me, they go, hey, Steve, how was your day today? I said, you know, it was so good. If it was any better, there'd have to be 2 of me to fit it all in, right? And then you grin like crazy, right? And if they go, Steve, how good a speaker are you? I go, I am so good a speaker that I make Mark Twain feel bad. And then you grin like crazy. First of all, who knows what Mark Twain would feel like? You say things that people go, whoa, right? How cool is that? Pick your spots, do your thing. So always refer to yourself as the best. You are the expert. Okay, let's go to 3. I'm looking up my clock every once in a while. My clock was off by almost a half an hour when I panicked earlier. I looked up and went, oh crap, I got to be on in about 4 minutes. And then we found out it was way out of whack for some reason. Okay, and the 3 phrases you must be using in order to get people to call you. Now, there's a lot more. We could talk about that. If you want to really build your business, you'll end up working with me on how we can build your business and create your craft and do all these wonderful things. But if you want to be, right, and this is how you have to, if you want to be more successful, right, if you want to make more money, if you want to get more clients, then you will want to connect with me today. Now, do you remember me saying that earlier in the thing? Hey, if you guys want to be more successful, you guys are going to have to work with me. I said that probably in the first 5, 6 minutes. May have said it twice, right? Because that's what you want them to start understanding. And you don't say it, I don't say it like I won't say it to James. James is in there. I won't say, hey, James, if you want to be more successful, you better be working with me. No. You want to say it as a generic, right? If you want to make a lot more money as a speaker, right? Why aren't you already? What's holding you back? What's preventing you from making a ton of money? And the answer is probably lack of knowledge on how to make that money, lack of knowledge on how to get those speaking gigs, lack of knowledge on all the things that help you build a successful speaking business. And that's when you say, well, as with 40 years experience, and obviously a lot of people helping me and working with me on my teams, we can help you create that successful experience and become the speaker that you want to be. You see, that's how we do it. So we want to help them be more successful. We want to help them make more money, and we want to help them get more clients. That's what we should be doing. And so the next one would be, I'm probably the only one who can help you move forward on that. So if I ask them, remember we talked about ask is this big, you know, hey, what would you like? If I said success builders, what do you really want out of your speaking career? What do you really want out of being an author? Why do you know, because some people say, well, I have a message to share, Steve. This is message going to change the world. It's going to change lives. I go, cool, right? Now, how are you going to present that message, right? And they say, well, I'm not really sure. You know, I wrote this book and it says this, right? And I go, well, great, but nobody wants to read your book. People are like, what? I go, nobody wants to read your book unless you give them a compelling reason to read it. The reason, anybody go to Audible, right? Raise your hand. We go to Audible and look up Audible thing, or any book, you know, and we always read the inside cover. They give you that preview and you read that. And if it's worded so that it connects with you, you might buy their book. True, right? That's why they give us the preview so that we can try and figure out, okay, how we need to get that out to those people. Matter of fact, I heard of something just about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Somebody else said, hey, in my next book, I'm going to be doing this, which is after every chapter, there should be a barcode. What? I went, a barcode. And they went, a barcode. So when people scan it, it takes them to a video of you recapping the chapter and exciting them about what's to come. I went, oh, how cool is that for an idea, right? Because they don't have any connection with me, but imagine if they read my book. So imagine reading I got a relationship book out there. So they read the first chapter and they get done with it. And then there's a thing for me saying, hey, if you really want to find that love of your life, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, that guy's kind of cool. Can't wait to read the next chapter. And then after that chapter, another short 30-second video. Wow, I never thought of that. You see, other people have that already in their books. I never thought of it. And I thought that was really cool. So understand that I might be the only one who will bring that idea to an author. Okay, so even though their publisher is super knowledgeable, they don't have that idea. So am I the expert that can help them get what they want? Maybe. So see how we have to position ourselves. All right. And then what is it that you want that you don't have already today? Because I think together you can get it. In other words, when you work with me, I can help you get it. You can work with the gurus all you want, and they won't ever ask you, what do you really want? Right? What is it? What do you want? What do you really, really want? Isn't that a song? I really want it. I don't know. Don't ask me to sing. That'll be bad for you. Anyway, it's one of those deals where you ask, right? You ask, and then you find out what they really want. What is it that you want that you don't already have today? And when they tell you, you go, you know what? I think if we work together, that we can probably get you that. I think if we work together, that you can probably achieve that. Would that be of interest to you? And people are like, well, yeah, that's the whole point of me doing this. So understand, when we talk about positioning your brand is you. So vital to understand. Yep, you can have matching colors. Yep, you can have this there. Yep, you can have your logo on your website, match your logo on your birthday card, on your business card, right? You can have that. That's great. I'm not going to hire you because your logos match. I'm going to hire you because you branded yourself as an expert that I need the knowledge from in order to achieve my goals. Are you guys doing that? Are you really the expert that can help people achieve their goals? That will put you in a position so that when you're done with a workshop, somebody, if you've got 12 people on, 2 of them will probably reach out to you and say, I need to talk to you. Great, here's my email, right? Please drop me a note. Unless you would like for me to contact you, please drop me your email and phone number. And about half the time, they'll drop me theirs, and the other half the time, they're trying to call me. It's okay, whichever one works for them. right? I had somebody really upset with me one day a few months ago because she said, why would I have to call you if you're trying to sell me something? I went, I don't think I said you have to call me, right? I think what was said was, if you would like to make an appointment with me, here's my calendar. And she said, well, I shouldn't have to call you. I went, great, tell me your information. And she said, I don't know if I want to give it to you. Well, we're kind of done working together already, because if you're going to be that difficult about something about a phone number, who's going to call who, I probably don't want to work with you. That's your choice, right? You get to choose, because when you've got people calling you, when you've said the right things, when you've positioned yourself as the expert, and that's when people want to call you. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. What are you going to be the expert in? Why would people ever call you? Okay. And how will they know you're the expert unless you brand yourself as a leader, as an expert, as a person with all this knowledge? You have to be the professional. You have to be the expert. That, and I don't care what all this other stuff that says, hey, this is how you build a logo. This is how you build the colors. Great. Right? And I don't know who you've hired lately, but if GE, and I just bought a refrigerator, I wonder who it was. Anyway, I'll say it was GE. But if GE's logo didn't match their website, would I stop buying GE? Probably not, right? So what makes you the brand? What makes you the brand? And that's if you take control and start saying, I am in control of what you need to have in your life. Does that make sense? Because that's what I want you to do. From this day forward, if we say, hey, what do you do? So if I put a sticker up here and says, hey, I'm a speaker, and somebody says, Steve, what do you speak on? Right? I better be able to give them an answer of what I speak on. So if I have 3 or 4 signature talks, right, they better be right here. And it depends on what they do. So I won't always just answer them, like, because keep this in mind, just because somebody asks you a question doesn't mean you have to answer it. So if they say, Steve, what do you speak on? Because I'm wearing it, so they'll ask. I go, can I ask you a question first? They go, sure. I go, what do you do? And if they go, oh, I work at a corporation. I said, oh, how long you been there? Oh, I've been there about 12 years. I said, exciting, isn't it? They go, well, not so much. I go, oh, wow. I go, well, I'm glad you asked me what I speak on, because what I speak on is happiness in the workplace and how, right, we can help you be happier when you go to work every day. Wow, guess what? If I'd have just blurbed it out and he worked, someplace else, probably wouldn't have been significant. For somebody else, it might be, hey, I help you improve your personal brain power. Whatever yours is. I had somebody who said, they were their book was all about them having died. Okay. And I said, well, what are you trying to share with people? I'm trying to share with people they can overcome all experiences, because when I almost died, I did this, I did this, I did this. And I went, okay, but how does you going through all this help me? They go, well, my story will help them get better. And I want you to understand something. If you take the I, the me, and the my out of your brand and start saying, how can I affect them? Your business will change. Okay. I said, I've been on, it's 34 minutes right now. I said I'd be on 30 to 35. That's what we got to wrap up. I hate boring people. I hate boring long-term things. So I'm going to wrap this up. If you have questions, please drop me a response or a question at steve@stevesapato.com. You can go to my website, stevesapatoseminars.com. You can go to speakertalks.com, and we can work all of those wonderful things out to help you become the best that you can be. And that's my job. God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you, Steve.